What is up, my friends? We are back and delighted to say we're joined by friend of the channel, fellow Liverpool fan, and one of the hosts of the Anfield Index Money Talk podcast. I am, of course, speaking about Mr. Mo Chatra. Mo, how are we, sir?
Yeah. Feeling on top of the world. Liverpool are doing business, um, getting the transfers in, building up the footballing equivalent of Avengers Assemble. So, what was there to complain about?
Absolutely nothing, my friend. Absolutely nothing. Now, I want to start off the video by just saying thank you to our friends at Anfield Index for making this possible as well. We really do appreciate them, and we would urge everybody to, of course, go across, check out Mo's work and the rest of the great work at Anfield Index. Mo, before we get stuck into the nitty gritty, I just wanted to get your fan view of this summer's transfer window and the players that Liverpool are bringing in.
Delighted, absolutely pleased, smiling from ear to ear. This is what, the likes of you and I have been calling for years, for the club to act like a true superpower, to show to the rest of the world Liverpool means business, not to act like a mid-table minnow, um, not to act like the underdog. And if you look at as we recall this today, I think Billy Hogan um, gave an interview with James Pearce of the Athletic and was talking exactly those types of terms. That Liverpool is one of the biggest clubs in world football, and we need to act like it. So I'm delighted. That's exactly what I want the CEO of Liverpool Football Club to be saying, and that's exactly what we need to be following up through our actions. And we're seeing it in the actions by spending, but not just spending for spending's sake. We're in need of a turnover within the squad. The players that don't fit the system are not part of Slot's plans. They need to be moved on, and then the players that are right for his way need to be brought in. And we've brought in what half a dozen already or so, with more yet to come in. So in terms of what we're doing, the players we're recruiting, the ambition we're showing, and most importantly, the perception that is being left for the rest of football to see in terms of future transfer windows is what excites me, because every young 17, 18, 19 year old is now looking at Liverpool Football Club for the first time possibly ever, saying that is a destination that I want to be part of, in the same way that those players may have been looking at the Real Madrids and Barcelonas. Now they're starting to lump Liverpool into that category, and it feels sweet.
Preach, Mo, preach. It's a beautiful thing. Now, I have a little theory. Before we get stuck into the how is it all possible, I have a little theory, and I've been asking myself a lot. Why have we suddenly seen this change of tact from Liverpool's owners? And the best that I can come up with, Mo, is they've sensed weakness in Manchester City. Liverpool have obviously delivered with Arne Slot, maybe a little bit quicker than they would have thought. And this is why, in my opinion, it's just a guess, we are doubling down, building on success, and building for the future. I really do feel that they sense that weakness. They've got the capital infrastructure project sorted. That's done. The money from those are starting to come in. And like I said, Guardiola's time at City may be coming to an end, and I think they smell weakness.
Yeah. I think there's several factors at play, but yeah, that is certainly amongst the top ones. They know that um, the time to strike from a position of strength is now. If they even wait a year, other teams can catch up in that period. We know that City have to undergo a transitional year. They've already had, in this calendar year, a big turnover of players. Arsenal, even though we weren't expecting them to have a big turnover, they've lost six, seven players already, more yet to go, and they're bringing in a bunch. And some of the changes that they've made, if anything, it might be a downgrade rather than an upgrade. United are United, still a shambles. Chelsea are still buying and selling like there's no tomorrow. So now is the time where we've got the core of that team, the spine of that team being relatively stable, but just needing those final finishing touches to put something in place that can create a legacy, that can create a dynasty, as I called it on X a few days ago. Something that can go on to win multiple league titles, win a seventh and eighth Champions League, and lots more besides. This is the time to really do it. And rather than spread it out over a couple of years, why not get it all done at once if the finances allow? So I think you're absolutely right. They've decided if we go out and really put our marker down, it will demoralise the rest of the league before a single ball is kicked before the start of the season. They'll all think Liverpool have got it. We're all fighting for second, um, and that's a kind of psychological impact we need to be having on the rest of the league, and even further afield across the rest of Europe. So I'm loving what they're doing. I like the ambition. I like the business as well. It's not just about spending money; it's how you spend it, and the players that have been recruited. Quality in every single case. So absolutely buzzing about the season to come, and also the remainder of the transfer window because I think we're definitely not done yet. There's more exciting incomings to arrive, and that's why I'm smiling from ear to ear, just like most Liverpool fans.
It really is surreal, Mo. Every day you wake up, you look at your phone, and whatever the link is, you just think to yourself, "It's possible. Anything's possible this summer." We've already seen nearly 300 million spent, and the possibility to go up towards 500 million. And of course, we will recoup money as well. But I wanted to just ask you, from an accounting perspective, and obviously from your professional experience, how is all of this possible? How are Liverpool able to do this and still be within the PSR constraints, FFP, and many of the other obstacles that are in the way of clubs spending money?
So, in a nutshell, there are three or four factors. There's the fact that what we call transfer debt, which is the money we owe for previous deals, is very low compared to other clubs. So you've got a club like Manchester United that owe, I think it's about £400 million to clubs for deals from the last 2, 3 years. We came into this transfer window owing money for, I think it was just Endo, um, Gravenberch, and a roundabout kind of owing of money for McAllister and uh, Soboslai. And I say roundabout because there was a facility that we used, like a loan, to pay those two release clauses. If you remember, they were release clauses for those deals. So summer of 23, we had to put down 35 up front for McAllister. It was about 60 or so for Soboslai. And then the loan is being repaid back. Um, but the terms are more flexible with that. Whereas with Bayern Munich for Gravenberch, and with Endo from I can't remember which club sold him to Liverpool. Um, yes, Stuttgart. We'd be paying that over three instalments, and the final of those instalments would have been due this summer. And that pretty much would have been about it, other than add-ons from previous deals where, because of Liverpool winning the Premier League, some of those deals from the last several years may have involved if such and such a player wins the Premier League, then that will trigger a payment of £3, 4 million. And that's it. That's it. So if you compare that to a Man United or somebody else, small beer in comparison. So it was a small level of transfer debt is one thing. Second thing is we are in the process of selling a lot of players, and we're expecting to bring in over £200 million from player sales. So we already sold players where, when you factor in add-ons, amount to 60 odd £1 million, and we still are expecting to see the likes of Diaz, Nunez, Elliott, and a few others leave before the end of the transfer window closing. So that also helps. And also on top of that, we're making more money as a club than ever. So we ended last year with revenues of £700 million, and we're going into a season where we're probably going to hit £750 million, which is levels that are almost unprecedented. So the amount of money we're generating, the amount of money we'll make from player sales this window, a low level of transfer debt, all mean that it combines to a lot of money. And what I put on Twitter is that even if we're going out and spending, in terms of total transfer fees, close to £500 million, in terms of the instalments, because nearly all transfer deals are paid in instalments, we'll only be owing about 150 million this summer, and then the rest will be paid out over summer 26, summer 27. So it's not as if we're having to find literally £500 million this summer. That transfer fee total is spread out over several years. Um, yes, we've got other costs as well to factor in, but the analysis I did and I shared on X a few days ago demonstrate that we have the ability to go out and spend in significant sums, and that's in a nutshell a consequence of being very tight for the last several years. So, we all complained about, oh, why aren't we spending more money? But because of that lack of spending over the last few years, we're in a position to spend big this summer. And then just finally on PSR, because you mentioned that. So, Dave Powell of the Echo and Reach did share some kind of analysis to suggest that we can make a loss for the last season of £200 million and still comply with PSR. And yet, if anything, we'll be achieving a reasonable surplus last year. So PSR is not really a concern. Just for player trading for last season for 24-25, we know that the profit on player trading was £41 million. And that's on top of whatever profit we made from just general operating income and expenditure. So that's, the money from UEFA, the Premier League, from kit deals, other commercial deals, and match day as well. And you compare that to all your costs, your player wages, your coaches' wages, other staff wages, and the costs of running Anfield and all these other facilities and the like. Um, Even from those activities, the club would have made a profit. So, in very, very simple terms, we have more money than we ever have had, and that is what enables us to go out and spend like we've never done before.
It's glorious to see, and it would be remiss of us not to speak, obviously, about FSG in this, but Hughes and Edwards and how they've moved this summer. They have been surgical, Mo, in the way that they've gone after these targets and usually gotten them quite quickly.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's one of the most impressive things about the window is that we are operating with um, focus, with intent, and with precision. This is the type of behaviour that we almost used to be jealous of when it came to other rival clubs. That why do they get some of these deals done so quickly? Why are we procrastinating over paying an extra 3, 4, 5 million pounds and then we lose out on the deal? I mean, you just think back, what, a couple of years ago was it, Lavia? That was a saga that went on for what, 2 months, 3 months, and we were on the verge of paying what was being asked for the player, and then Chelsea just swept him from nowhere and snapped him up just days after they took Caicedo from under our noses as well, just to kind of rub salt in the wound. And that was a time when Reds understandably were pulling their hair out. But why is it that we're so bloody crap at transfers? And yet that just seems like a distant memory now. We're now operating like a slick operator. We don't mess around. We know what we want. We know what we need to get done to get the deal over the line in terms of what the player wants, the agent wants, and what the selling club wants. And then we get it done. And that is where I think Michael Edwards version 2.0, as some people call it, um, is a different cat to the one that we had before his departure. At that time, he was still getting some good business done, but we operated a little bit more slowly and deliberately. Now we are seeing exactly why last summer they were so quiet. It's because clearly they were preparing for a very, very big summer this summer 25. And this is what they used to tell us about that group several years ago, if you recall, that they always do their business well in advance. 12, 18 months ahead is what they do. And we've seen that materialize. So we were all scratching our heads thinking, right, so what exactly has this Hughes done? He's signed a deal right at the end of the window for Chiesa, Other than that, no contract renewals, no this, no that. What exactly is he doing? And he was getting stick from all quarters. Many Liverpool fans were really laying into him, but he is absolutely um, he's absolutely turned it around. All the kind of memes with the cigars and everything, all coming out of the woodwork, celebrating Hughes, celebrating Edwards. You know, they've pulled off a generational transfer window already, and that's before we even talk about the deals that look like they're still about to come over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. So all credit to them. They're operating in a fantastic way, and that excites me even more about the future of the club.
So let's play fantasy football for a moment. Let's say we do bring in Isak, and let's say we sort out a centre back. Obviously, we lost Jarell Kwanzaa. So let's say we bring those in this window. And as you've mentioned, we will recoup a significant amount of money as well. One question that I keep being asked by our viewers, and I'm not qualified to answer, is would this mean we're going to have future problems with transfer funds if indeed we need them? Now, of course, we are front loading now, and you would imagine only minor surgery will be required in any squad in the future. But is this hamstringing us, Mo, from being able to do that?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, this year, in my thread within Twitter, stroke X, mentioned that we'll have to find about 135 million. I said that the overall outgoings to bring players in, but also to cover pre-existing transfer instalments would be about 260 million manufacturing agents fees. The money we can expect to bring in from sales would be a lot less than that. So therefore, I said we still have to find 135 million from um, operating margins. And for next year, though, that figure becomes a lot smaller. So the reason why is the agent fees are being paid as a one-off now. So we're not going to be paying. I estimate 60 million of agents fees. We're not going to be paying 60 million agents fees for this summer's deals next year or the year after. So straight away we cancel that out. Plus, we know that by now the final instalments for the likes of Endo, Gravenberch, and even the loans for McAllister and Szoboszlai would have been pretty much paid off. So we'll be purely dealing with payments for the signings from this summer. So if that set of instalments for this summer's deals next summer involves paying out 149, 150 million, we know that we'll be getting in about, say, 70, 80 million pounds from player sales. So if the likes of Elliott and Co go, then whoever buys him, we will be paying an instalment next summer. So we're then having to find only about 60, 70 million pounds next summer. So we will have greater scope to still spend next summer. It won't be that, right, our business is done and that's it. So if you think back to 2018, where we had a really, relatively speaking, big transfer window, we brought in Allison, we brought in Naby Keita, and a few others, and we spent what was it, 180 million, 200 million, something like that, which was a lot of money at the time. The following summer, summer 2019, we didn't really spend a great deal. In fact, our marquee signing was probably Adrian. So not exactly a stellar summer in terms of signings, but despite that, we still went on to win the league. But we're not in that same place now. The amount of money we will be generating over the next 12 months means there will be funds to still go out and spend. So, just for example, if either Mo or Virgil, their legs completely go over the next 12 months, and we can't even carry them for another 12 months to the end of their contract, and we think, right, unfortunately, they're done, completely done. We need to bring in a replacement for one of the two this summer, summer 26. The money should be there. Um, that said, we can't expect to have the funds to go out and spend on, 6, 7, 8 players like we are seeing this summer. So just to manage expectations, we would be looking at funds for maybe two or three signings, perhaps one high value signing and a couple of moderate level outgoings, and probably the same the summer after that. So it will have to be on that basis. But I think if we are in a situation, summer 2026, where we're needing to bring in six, seven, eight players, that would suggest something has seriously gone wrong this season coming 25, 26. And the way things are shaping up, I'd be shocked if that's the case. So I think that we'll be in a place whereby we'll probably only need to bring in two to three at most for the next couple of summers. And that should be perfectly fine.
I love that. I love everything that you said there, Mo. I'm very optimistic for the future myself. And before I let you go, I just wanted to have a little quick chat about the Adidas kit deal that's obviously going to kick off on the 1st of August. Now, obviously, we are privy to all the information around this, but one thing that always struck me was we see Manchester City just agree a 10-year, 1 billion deal with Puma. And a lot of people are like, that's a huge deal. Why are Liverpool not doing something that length? And the best that I can come up with, and I wanted to run this past you, was that we don't want to commit to past 5 years or so, because what looks good now might not look good in 7, 8, 9 years. And that 100 million a season mightn't be great in 10 years' time for Manchester City. That's my best guess at it, Mo, but I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, with that deal, a lot of Liverpool fans were asking the question, well, why is it they can sign a deal for that much, and yet it appears that our new deal with Adidas is for a lot less? What I can tell you is that the Adidas deal is, in fact, a lot more than the club is briefing journalists. So it is a deal that I think has a guaranteed sum of maybe 40 million. And the journalists have been briefed that with some of the incentivized elements of that agreement, the club will be generating about 60 million pound. What I can tell you is that the New Balance deal from 6 years ago was generating 60 million pounds. And yet, if you listen to club briefings back then, they were claiming that they were only making about 30 million a year from the kit deal. So, for whatever reason, I've never quite understood this. Liverpool is the only of these top clubs that significantly downplays its kit deal. Um, the New Balance deal, when it ended, was generating the club 70 to 80 million pounds, in fact. And that was 5 years ago. And that was replaced by a Nike deal in 2020, as you know, which was generating the club 80 million plus. And I've estimated that in the last couple of years, it was probably more around the 100 million pound mark. Now, what I can also tell you is that when Adidas came in with an offer to become the new kit partner once again from 2025, their offer was said to be so strong, Nike, who had the contractual right to match it, didn't even try to do so. So I think that the Adidas deal is worth at least 120 million. So though the fixed element of it will be significantly less, and what journalists have reported on will be factually correct, it's the additional money that is to be made. This is not like the deals for a Chelsea or an Arsenal or a Man United, where the kit deal sum is fixed. This is an incentivized deal that Liverpool have, unlike the City deal with Puma. And it's that incentivization that allows Liverpool to actually generate really, really high sums of money. So I estimate it will be 120 to 130 million at least in that first season. Because bear in mind, Liverpool are coming off the back of not only winning the Premier League, which in itself normally boosts shirt sales quite significantly, they're going to be going into next season with about four or five bona fide marquee signings. The kids will be kind of wondering which name shall I put on the back of my shirt, or maybe I should put all four or five of them: Wirtz, Isak, Ekitike, all the rest of them. Why not? So that's the kind of place that Liverpool are in when it comes to the kit deal. So and the other thing to know about the City deal is it's actually a deal for the whole group. So it's £100 million for all 11 or 12 or 13 clubs, or however many they have within that group, not just for City, though clearly City are by far the biggest within that group. So the bulk of those proceeds will go to them. But all credit to them, they've actually got a bona fide, real, genuine, kosher sponsorship deal that will be paying significant sums, unlike some of their other deals, allegedly.
I think the only difference or the only exception there would probably be the New York side, who of course would have to be with Adidas for the MLS kit deal. But
Yeah, yeah.
Mo, you've done it. I didn't think I was going to be able to feel any happier today. I didn't think I was going to have a bigger smirk on my face, my friend. But you've done it. You've convinced me now how all this is possible. You've told me about the kit deal and what we can expect. And I just want to say a massive heartfelt thank you. I know you're a busy man. That thread that you're speaking about on X is one that I've been urging all of our viewers to go and have a look at as well. It really does break it down for us. And a massive thank you, Mo, for coming on, and to, of course, our friends at Anfield Index as well. We really do appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and keep up the great work. And yeah, great times to be read. And by all means, everyone keep supporting Craig and everyone else at Anfield Agenda, as well as all of my colleagues and friends at Anfield Index as well. So all of us within the Liverpool fan media content creation space. We're all working hard to give you some really good content, and we all need to support each other, and especially in great times like this.
Absolutely, and I echo everything that Mo said. We will, of course, include links to Mo's podcast, to the Anfield Index stuff as well. We really are appreciative, and like Mo said, there is plenty of content out there for all of us to make, and lots for all of our Liverpool fans to have a look at. We thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Mo as well. We'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Much love.